Well, I'm not sure how this video is going to turn out. It's already shaping up to be kind of strange, but what I'm trying to do is show you, and this is not a salon style. I gotta tell you this is about the 5th or 6th time I've had to cut my own hair. I just don't want to go to my salon under the conditions that things are in right now, which is... Back when all this began, I got about an 8-page dictum telling all the things you can't do, and it was just like something you get from a hospital or a jail or something, and it was something hairdressers were supposed to show their clients, and I thought, oh my God, I was so intimidated that I never went back. I'm just trying to show you how this is what I'm having to do. Keep my hair in some kind of order, and I guess it's in some kind of order. It's a lot grayer. I'm just using a root touch-up, and my head looks at an odd angle. I'm trying to use a monitor, which is a mirror image, and of course when I do that I can't get my head going the right way. But what I'm trying to say is, damn, this thing's going on a long time. We're heading into our 9th month of this thing that we're in, and it's not getting better. Everything I see and hear seems to be saying it's getting worse. Now, I know my American friends. I guess I have some American friends. There's some people who watch some of these videos who live in the States. I can only imagine what you're going through right now. We in Canada don't think a lot of Donald Trump as a rule. Now, my leanings tend to be a little more liberal, but I'm not a super lefty or anything. I'm not a vegan. I don't ascribe to anything too extreme. I have a little problem with Justin Trudeau. I think he's a bit flaky. But when you mishandle a thing like this, it results in a lot more deaths than needs to happen. Sorry, I'm not in the view of the camera yet. It results in a lot more deaths than really needs to happen. I got thinking about how many people have died unnecessarily because of what Donald Trump has said about dismissing this thing, saying, oh, we're turning the corner. It's not serious. He got it and recovered. Kind of wish there'd been more blowback from that. I don't ever want to wish somebody dead, but I kind of wish it had been more of an ordeal for him. What's going to happen? My immediate family's doing pretty well, and I try to cling to that, but I do care about the world. I grew up in the 60s. You can probably tell I'm an older person. Some people in my comment sections I just looked back on a video I did about bottled water being not safe, and they kept calling me Granny, which was amusing to me because I am a grandmother. I don't like the term Granny. It reminds me of the Beverly Hillbillies, but as an older person, something like this affects me in a little bit different way because I'm in one of those age groups and my husband is older than me. We're in a high-risk group automatically, even without added health concerns, which I have as well, and so does he. We have things that make us vulnerable. Looks like my head is floating, it isn't. That make us vulnerable in other ways. I have bipolar, and keeping my balance with bipolar has been quite a challenge. I scrambled around for a while. I called my doctor's office. It was a farce. And they said, well, why don't you go to that counselor you used to go to? Well, I tried, and they said, sorry, your file has been closed, and the clinic is closed. And at the time, the bars were open, but the mental health clinic was closed. And my file was closed, and I kind of panicked, and I phoned the doctors back and said, oh, no, it's not closed. And I said, it is. Can my doctor do something about it? Oh, no, she won't be back for, well, quite a few weeks. She never does her own appointments anyway. But another doctor said, oh, I'll fix that up for you. I'll fix it. Well, I phoned the clinic back. No, we haven't heard anything. No, sorry, your file's closed. So I phoned back again. And I said something like, what if I told you I was suicidal? And they said, well, I'm afraid we really can't help you if your file is closed. And she said, well, Mrs. Gunning, you can always go to emergency. We just want you to know what your options are. Click. No, I wasn't suicidal. And I was in a way using a cheap trick to try to get something I needed, which was some attention. I needed it. I didn't get it, and I finally had to let it go. Now, out of the blue comes a phone call from Royal Columbian Hospital, which is a really terrible place. It's like something out of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I'm not kidding. The psych ward there is an institution out of the 50s. They wanted me to go there and talk to a psychiatrist that I'd never met, never heard of. I was in that hospital in 1989. And 1989 was quite a while ago. So their records of me would be a little bit out of date. So I hung up. And I thought, well, you know, my health concerns are going to go unmet, so I'm going to have to really dig down deep within myself and just find the reserves I need to be okay. That's what I've been doing. It's a day at a time. It's sometimes tough because it's all very well to say, oh, well, everybody has mental health concerns. But if everybody has it, nobody has it. If people say, oh, we're all the same, we all have mental health issues, it levels everything. So a person like me has got to be just like a person who's never needed help or medication or any of that. I'm going to be on the same level as someone with no family history because we're all the same. We all have the same issues. We do not all have the same issues. I'm here to tell you that. I have issues that some of my issues are pretty haunting. I live the best life I can today. I live as simply as I can. We're okay. And sometimes I think, my worst moment is when I first wake up. Do you ever have that? I first wake up and I don't quite remember. And then, oh, I don't want to get up. I don't want to get up. But I don't want to just lie in bed helplessly either. I know I'm not helpless. But I lie there and think, oh, come on, come on. I know that's a sign of depression. And I'm pushing it. I'm pushing it because I have to. What am I going to do? There's no help. The clinic is still closed. And the bars are still open. People are going and getting smashed. And I can't go and see a counselor for an hour and maybe come away feeling better. That's not going to happen. But I can go to emergency. Oh, get out of your mind. It's not an emergency. It's just a need that I have. I don't know why they don't see the difference and why medicine is so bloody inhuman in so many ways and psychiatry. Here's my kitty. We're going to have a little visit with Mr. Kitty. Look up in the camera. Look. Oh, look at this. My kitty does me more good than any psychiatrist I've ever had in my life. Oh, I never intended or thought that I would talk about, you know, the thing that I've lived with since at least age 13. I've thought about it a lot, even when I didn't want to. Because the memories come back, and the memories of the treatment I've had is worse than the disease. Far worse. The disease has been terrible, like a tornado. The treatment and mistreatment has been far, far worse, including the kind of neglect that's going on right now. There's a lot of lip service paid to mental health now, and that's great. But it's a little bit too little and too late for me. I don't see things changing fast enough to have any positive effect on me whatsoever. I'm sorry, that's the best I can do. But it's okay. I'm managing. I'd say I can't complain, but I guess I do. I want the world to be a better place. I want people like me to be understood. I don't want to keep going through the bullying that happens when somebody leaves a comment on one of my videos saying, "Did you forget your meds today?" I never forget my meds. Without my meds, I wouldn't do well. But it's not funny to joke about somebody's meds. It's shameful enough in this culture to even need them, or people wouldn't make jokes like that. You wouldn't hear things like whack job and nut bar. It's still okay to mock the mentally ill. It's still okay. People do it every single day. People who think that they're tolerant and liberal and sensitive. And then they say, he's just a whack job. He's a whack job. He's nuts. He's crazy. Dismissed. Rubber stamp, out. I want you to think about this and reject it, accept it, think about it, don't think about it, write me off, or don't watch it at all. That's fine. But I just felt the need to say it. I'm really feeling my issues right now with all this going on. And I'm sure lots of others are too, but there's a silence. There's a funny silence. All I heard the other night, and I laughed at this, there's good news on the news. It said, there's good news on the mental health front, and I perked up my ears. Suicide rates are actually down. During the first few months of the pandemic, suicide rates have dropped. Mental health professionals are attempting to analyze this unexpectedly good turn in mental health. And I'm going, you know what it is? Nobody's keeping stats anymore. We don't know. The other thing is, most people who commit suicide, it's hidden and called an accident to spare the families the shame. So it's called an accident, or nobody's paying attention to keep statistics, so they're skewed. Or it's just crisis orientation. And I'm here to tell you, crisis orientation doesn't last forever. It can't. I'm gonna see this pretty thing? Anyway, seeing it shine. It doesn't last forever because it can't. That's not how we live. It's like what do they call that when your tires get really bald? Riding on the rims. You're worn right down, all the insulation's worn away, and you're on bare wires. Bare wires aren't going to last forever. People will start to die. Who cares?